Well, welcome back to the shop, guys. We got a fun one today. And it might be, I say that too much sarcastically in these videos, but we go from one roof video to another one. We're gonna do a complete rubber roof replacement on this 2009 Cardinal fifth wheel. And while maybe my sarcasm's a little bit too strong with this one, there's a lot of story to this, I have to tell you. This has been something of an albatross here at the shop for the last few years, and a keen viewer of the channel might have noticed this in a lot of videos. Usually it's set up somewhere over there, and while eventually I'll get to tell the whole story about this trailer situation, first things first, I do have to replace this roof because I'm the customer. And while this is a 2009 and this rubber roof should still have at least another 10 years of life in it, somebody's painted this. It's not in great condition, and between the broken attic vents in the back, sewer vents right here, modified attic vents there, and another strange decision here. The skylight is loose. The TV antenna is obsolete. The satellite dish is also obsolete and unnecessary. And most importantly, I think at this point in 2025 and past, nobody should have ladders mounted on the roof anymore on RVs. It's like such a #1 cause of roof failures and rotten roofs back there. Now, another reason why I do not like ladders on RVs is that traditionally they do get ran into things and cause a lot more damage than just having a extension ladder would solve. And more importantly, this is a beautiful window in the back right here. It's a really cool floor plan, but you got a ladder right in the way of viewing. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this and probably do some fiberglass repair back here. So I am looking to simplify, give opinions about what you should expect from a roof replacement down to these expensive, fantastic vents. You can see the base is cracked in that one too. I've decided that if my name's gonna be attached to it, I might as well give it a fighting chance to put a brand new roof on it. Well, I'm not convinced that I can make the metal radius underneath right here look much better. We might want to secure it so it doesn't pop up so much. I don't know if you can see my knees, even though this roof is coated, it's starting to fall apart. And a bad looking roof really makes an RV unsellable. This has been a long time coming, and I do have a brand new rubber roof to throw on top of it. But first things first, let's get on the roof and start replacing the roof. And who doesn't like making a silk purse out of a pig's ears, right? So the first thing we're gonna do is take the molding off the side and then remove everything off the roof and take a look at the deck. There's really nothing too complicated or difficult about the teardown part. We've seen this many times. Now, ultimately, there's nothing special. We're just gonna pull off all the trim inside for the skylights and the vents in order to get everything out of the way. That also means removing the roof AC units, because again, these are gonna be in the way. And there's 2 of them. We need to do it now, because we may not have access to the inside once we start the roof. Now, I'm doing this job by myself mostly, so I'm gonna guess this will take me at least a week to do. Hopefully, if you have some help, it won't take anybody else nearly that long. And I think that's worst case scenario. At least that's what I hope. And look at that, this is a heat pump. I didn't know this was a heat pump. Is that some good news and good fortune? That's the temperature sensor, so the outside coil doesn't freeze up. I just have to unplug it. And now that AC unit is loose in the front. And then the second AC right here, which does happen to be a heat pump also. And with that vent down, basically everything that I need to remove on the ceiling is already done. And man, look at that big window. Isn't it a shame that there's a ladder right in the way of that view? I mean, not that there's anything to look at yet. But now we can go outside and get on the roof and really start the real work. So up here on the roof, the first step is going to be the easiest one, is we'll just take out this insert that's at the end of its life. Take out all the screws, and wow, they usually use Phillips screws on this. And we'll take off all the molding on both sides here. Just make sure you take some time with a marker. You let them know what side this is. So this is the passenger front. Boop. Arrow. And now we just take all the screws out. Alright, only 3 more to go. Now there is some thoughts about this insert molding right here. This is vinyl, and of course it does age. It's really not for weatherproofing, as you can see. Water gets back there very easily. It's mostly just there to look pretty and hide the screws. So it's not weather stripping at all. And it is consumable. That means it has to be replaced periodically or kept out of the sun. So only 2 more to go. And well, let's see. Definitely rust or water's getting in at the top of the screw, but it didn't make it all the way to the bottom, which is good. Because it does feel like it was probably getting pretty close to rotting the wall behind here. So we got this just in time, I think so. Yeah, just in time. Looks like the sealant on top of the track did a much better job on this piece of trim, which is why, of course, we do cap that with non-sagging die-core. But we won't be doing that for a couple days. Okay, so all that out. The radiuses will come up pretty easily. Those are almost never glued down. But you can see, if we pull this back, this is the rubber layer on there. It's still in really good shape. It still stretches. The top layer, which is white, you can see it better right there. That's to protect the black layer underneath. So if you ever see black on top of your rubber roof, that means your rubber roof is at the end of its life. I hadn't planned on showing the rear AC unit coming off or tearing it apart, but I ran into a couple interesting things I think you might want to see. One is that underneath the shroud, they did have a battery maintainer solar panel that wasn't being used. I'd never seen that before. 2, yes, this is a heat pump. And 3, when I lifted up right here, which is why I knew that there was a solar panel or something hooked up to it, these wires were connected to this over here, and I've never seen that before. But the interesting thing is right here. These are the bolts that mount the compressor, and they were putting a nice divot in the roof, so I have to figure out what to do on that when we put it back on. But secondly, remember, this thing's been coated, and if you don't take the AC unit off, there's absolutely no reason to coat at this point because the coating only makes it to here. But since most people think coating is a weatherproofing, water can still make it here. You can see the dirt gets under there just fine. So if you just coat to the outside of the AC unit, 1, you get crowd all over the AC unit, it looks awful. But 2, it doesn't do anything. If you're going to coat a roof, you need to take the AC unit off if you're going to do it, but I still think coating's a bad idea. Get the other one off too. I assume it's about the same. Again, you can see right here around this front AC, it only got coated to here. It just doesn't seem to serve much of a purpose, most of these coatings. Let's see if we have... Hey, cool. No solar panel on this one. And only the hint of damage on the rubber membrane. I don't know, Dometic. That seems like a pretty bad design to me. Now, these would have been attic vents, mushroom vents. I've never been sold on these actually being at all useful when you look at the restriction within it. It's just a gimmick I think the industry started to use to say that they were venting the ceiling. But there's not nearly enough airflow for those to do anything, and those just break constantly. So we will be getting rid of those in the back and in the front. And of course, we're going to be deleting this ladder too, because, you know, it's broken. Now back here, I did put this tape on because that vent did break because the plastic did get brittle. You can see the manufacturer didn't even cut the rubber out of here, so if they were going to vent, it's going to do something. Air's not flowing through that. So we'll just be deleting this hole in the front and in the back. That's what's supposed to be right here too, and somebody just put a sewer vent cap over the top of it because that's how common it is to break. The fewer holes in the roof is better, in my opinion. Now, luckily, because this was in my care when I put that tape on, I think I got it in time. But I think it's interesting that Cardinal drilled that hole in the wrong spot the first time, I guess. So now you have 2 holes to fix. Huh. I do think I have a plan for the ladder back here. Some people may not like it. But for the meantime, I need this ladder out of the way. Alright, so now we got everything off the roof here. The next step, before we pull the roof membrane off, is to cut these vent stacks off. I know some people just leave them on and then cut around them as they put the membrane on, but I find it to get in the way. Just cut them flush, we can always glue them back on. This is just 1.5 inch ABS, very easy to glue. It's kind of how it was made. So it's going to be a lot easier to roll the membrane off on top of the roof without these sticks sticking in the way. Alright, so the next stop is to start peeling off this old membrane. The first thing I'm going to do is cut along the sides and cut off those strips right there. And then, to save time, because it doesn't feel like this deck is rotten in any way, we're not going to be overlaying this. I'm not a big fan of overlaying, especially just for making something look smooth in appearance. But that also means the old adhesive is going to be very sticky on the deck. So it's going to be very difficult for me to fix all those holes that I don't want on the roof anymore. So I'm going to peel off the old roof in stages so I can work up here while we fill the holes. Now the easiest way to do this is just get a utility knife and make sure you have a nice sharp blade. Now the real key to getting this old roof off without causing a lot of damage is to cut the roof into tiny little strips. The less surface area that glue has to grab onto, the easier it is to remove. Now the second key, I'm probably not going to try unless I have to, is to let the membrane kind of bake in the sun and warm up. It will make it a lot easier to remove. But this is a fifth wheel, and the only way for me to move this out currently would be to hook up with the truck, and this is a very big fifth wheel, and I wouldn't be able to move it without probably causing some damage. So I'm going to hope the strips work. The sunlight and the strips will help a lot, as will a sharp razor blade. The biggest thing you're going to want to make sure you have is a good pair of gloves. Because pulling this stuff up will damage your hands. Look at that, already we're discovering, it's kind of surprising. I always thought Cardinals were built pretty well. That's generally why I don't staple these things down, because the staples don't hold, and then they stick out the back and start damaging the membrane. So we will have to secure this too. So we added some more work while we were at it. Good job. And well, obviously the roof lasted almost 20 years without damage. It does create a high point that keeps water trapped on the roof, and water will always find a way through if you give it an opportunity. So yeah, that was a design failure from Cardinal when they built this. Don't use staples. Now the other really important thing about making it into tiny strips is that this is OSB underneath. That strand board will get ripped up if you try to grab too much at a time, and you don't. And we want to minimize the blowout or the rip out or the tear out of the OSB, because that will transfer into the membrane. So small strips. Hopefully by the end of this video or this series, I'll be able to explain the entire back history and why I got stuck with this 2009 Cardinal fifth wheel. But for the meantime,